The concept of organic leadership, to understand it, I would like to take you first through a little bit of history. And we are going to something very interesting that happens in the world that a lot of us, we don't pay that much attention to it. And that is what we see today and what we will be seeing in the future is a consequence, is a result of what had happened in the second half of the 1800s. So let me give you a little bit of history, and we'll go very quickly over it. 1856, in the first book by Darwin, The Species, came to existence. 1876, 78, all the way to 1886, we have the birth of psychology as we know it today. During that very time, we had the birth again, the invention of electricity, of television, and many other technological things that we are now cherishing and we are using. A lot of people, mainly scholars, we don't pay attention to this fact because the result of that era is what we are living today. And there is no way to solve the problems of today except by going back to there so that we can solve the problems of the future. Let me give you some examples. From that time, from 1886, all the way until now, the world has seen changes we have never seen before. The number of wars exceeds by any means all the wars that have happened before. The number of economic crises that have happened since then exceed the economic crisis that happened throughout the world, all the way from the beginning of humanity. The human conflict, has not been as acute as it was during this era, and still. If you look at it, for example, since second half of 1900, you'll find that we had so many, unfortunately, so many economic crises: 51, 61, 71, 81, 91, 2001, 2007. One may wonder, what's happening? Why is it that we are not paying attention to all those changes that are happening? Many books are being written, many scholars are talking about it, still we're not finding solutions. That means there is a problem somewhere. And the problem is in this word we call organic. The human mindset, since they discovered psychology, and I'm a psychologist, it looks like psychology has messed up the human mind. And instead of making it whole, it fragmented the human psyche and moved us to an era where nothing is stable. Human beings have become simplings, unidirectional. They are not capable of having this whole picture where they can see everything happening around them. So throughout my life, I was always looking at the constant, asking this question, why is it that we have all these problems? And we are finding that the organic is the issue. We are not organic anymore. Our leaders, I'm not talking mainly from a business perspective, people are not organic anymore. And we have to go back to that place. But what is very interesting is that the lack of organic has come to us, unfortunately, from our Mother Earth itself. So let me show you something very interesting. This is the organic farming in the world. When you take the numbers, you'll find that what we have organic in this world does not exceed 16%. The food that we're eating does not exceed 16%. And that tells you a lot in the way and in the fabric and in the making of human mind, of our modern and future human mind. Earth is impacting us. And there's only one way to be able to rework our process and create a systematic thinking that will allow us to become organic. Imagine Africa, only 1% organic farming. 23 in Europe, United States, 6%, Asia, 4%, 6%, I'm sorry. And then North America is 4%. Africa is 1%, Latin America, 24%, and then Oceania, we are talking about New Zealand, Australia, and so on and so forth, 42%. Fortunately, humanity is coming back and people are paying attention to this fact that we are eating poisons and that we have to go back, review the way how we do business so that we can start something better. In other words, these people are putting us in a very interesting situation. We have to make a choice and a big decision in our life. One, we can live the age of information, which we are living right now. Everyone, most of us, I would say 95 to 97% of us are living based on information. And what does mean age of information? All what it means is what we are going to be dealing with passive leadership. It's happening, it's there, but it's not giving us anything. No result. A lot of things are occurring, but there's no substance. On the other hand, we have the age of skills. And the age of skills, this is where we are going to find active, productive leadership. And of course, at the same time, information is very vital to skills. And skills are very vital to the information. So we have to keep that dynamic going on. So what do we mean here? Well, we mean that in order for us to create, to design the mind of future leadership, we have to go back and create the transaction, this bridging between information and the age of skills and the age of skills and information. We are not living the age of knowledge as they call it. It's very wrong, and you are going to see why I'm saying this. So in this case, let us plant a palm tree. And there is no difference in the build-up and the lifespan of a palm tree and the lifespan of any leader who wants to be beneficial to his country, to his people, and to humanity, to mankind. Palm tree, I choose it because it is the most perseverant, the most generous, the wisest tree, like the olive tree, in the world. That's the way how Allah has created it. And in order for us to have it, it starts as this. It starts with a seed, that's dark green. Then it moves to dispersal. We have to move it to different places because we have to change the places. Then we have germination, where we start seeing those little green things coming out of it. And then we'll move on to seedling, where it starts really now having, it looks like a real palm tree. Then it grows, and that takes you to adult plant. Until now, she has not given us anything. And now we move to flowering and cone. All of a sudden, we see it growing, flowers coming, meaning she is ready for pollination. She's ready to receive the information from another tree, from another donor, so that it gives us fertilization, so that it gives us date, and that date has a seed, and then the cycle starts. In other words, it's a rebirth, it's a rebirth, it's a rebirth, it's a rebirth, and so on, so on. It's always giving. If that's happening for palm tree, then what should we do in order for it to make it happen in our lives? Well, from a human being, there are, and this is our organic approach. This is, when you go to Google, you are going to find a lot about organic style and so on and so forth. In my view, I cannot talk about organic style before talking about an organic leader. And in order for us to have an organic leader, 4 levels of transformation have to take place. 4 levels of transformation have to take place. And please pay attention with me. I'm sorry, I'm not talking about personal, this is one ideas that I really love, and appreciate. And I think through our work with many companies, it's giving a lot, alhamdulillah, a lot of great result, and people are enjoying it. So the first one is transformation from the information to the environment. A lot of us, we have a lot of ideas. We think, we share, and so on and so forth. But the question is, how much does it have with our reality, our environment? We never test those informations. And because we don't test this information, what will happen? The information keeps there, stays there, floating, and that's all what it's doing. It never gives us anything. So that is moving information to environment and environment to information. And now, for example, if you want to see, to look for something, you just go to Google, and it gives you millions of documents. That's all information. Can you reflect it on your Word, on your site, and see what it does, or at work, and see what it does to you? Very few of us do. And once we're able to create this link between our information, what we have, what we think are ideas, and our reality, we're ready to move to something very, very crucial, and that is transformation number 2, moving information to experiences. Moving information to experience, something we do. I take that information and try to implement it. And while implement it, I learn. I keep learning and learning and learning and learning. Consciousness is a result of 3 levels. First of all, something that I touch. I have to touch it. I have to touch it with my eyes, with my ears, with my tongue, with my hand, or with my intellect. Then we have to take that touching from that level to the level of knowledge. Knowledge that does not mean that I am perfect at that thing, but I have an idea about what it is, and I know exactly what it is. It's really the why and the how, and the why. But it's not enough. And this is why we have, in our world, we see that we have many scholars, but you know what? When you put them into the practical world, they have no idea what to do. And then we have level number 4, transformation number 4, moving knowledge to skills. A lot of people come and ask me sometimes, Dr. Malek, how can we read between lines when we have a situation, a given situation at work, with family, society, what's going on? How can we read between the lines? I tell them, this is something nobody can teach you. You have to earn it. And the only way to earn it is to go through that process from information to environment, environment back to information, take that information to experience, turn that experience into knowledge, turn that knowledge to skills, and while you are doing all that, make sure to keep learning and adjusting, keep growing. It's very crucial. That while you will keep learning and adjusting, something very important will happen to you. You will become self-motivated. That all of our colleagues were talking about. Self-motivation, there are 2 ways. One of them is negative. I'm self-motivated for no reason. But another one, I have a basis for my self-motivation. And that self-motivation will allow you to create more transformation at the level of information and create more ideas, and so on, and the cycle will continue. The good news is, in order for me to do that, I need this big things we call values. There's no organic leadership without values. There's no organic leadership without values. And therefore, when we are talking about the future, and I'm sorry, given the short time, when we are talking about the future, think about what had happened in the past. Try to go back, solve it. And then you will be able to establish a better future. That's the only way we can transform this nation, can transform every individual of us here, and we can transform the way how the history is going. Thank you very much, and I hope the idea was clear.